Hello, everybody. I was meant to be down the road at the church, but the rotors got mixed up. So I've got a quarter of an hour or so freedom before I'm picked up to go to Galmpton Church. And I thought I'd give a little précis of my homily that I'm going to be giving there, and I've already given at the 8 o'clock. If you hear some deep Vader-like breathing, it is because I have my trusted Labrador, Rory, who is just keeping me company here. From the Gospel according to St. Mark, which is today's reading, an extract. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, Jesus asked them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" This is Mark chapter 9. But they were silent, for on the way they had argued with one another as to who was the greatest. So he sat down, he called the 12, and he said to them, "Whoever wants to be first must be the last and the servant of all." Then he took a little child and put it among them, and taking it in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." And we also had from the Epistle of St. James, chapter 3, going through to 4. And I'll just give you a couple extracts. "Who is wise and understanding among you? Show by your good life that your works are done with gentleness born of wisdom." And finally, "Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And then this most famous line from St. James. It's the one actually I had at my induction 10 years ago now. Where's that gone? St. James says, "Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you." There are a number of times when Jesus talks about us needing to be childlike, and I can think of a number of different readings of this in Mark, Matthew, and Luke. And I don't think this is about being Peter Pan or immature. Indeed, think of 1 Corinthians 13, Paul saying that when he was a child, he thought like a child, and now that he's a man, he's put away childish thoughts. So it's not about being babyish or even innocent to the world. I mean, Jesus knows that we're going out to, that much of the world has packs of wolves ready to take us apart. And he said, "Be as..." That's one at the door. Children often play games, and so do grown-ups. Sort of games that... Hi, Johnny. I'm just recording live. The sort of games that adults play can be downright nasty, and I think we have to be wary within our friends and church folks and so on about the effect of this and how cancerous this can be, because when adults play games, they can be very destructive. In this particular incident, in Mark chapter 9, I think Jesus is addressing that kind of vicious adult game playing. And let's be frank, who put him up on the cross? The scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Roman political establishment, the game players par excellence. And Christ calls us to another way where we put to be first, we have to put ourselves last. We have to be a servant. And we saw how he acted that out in his life. Not only did he take the bowl and the towel at the Last Supper, but his whole life was one of putting himself second. And those who were on the edges of society, who are seen as scum, who are marginalised, the sinners, the tax collectors. He reaches out to them with a servant ministry. And so Paul, writing in Philippians, says that though he was divine, he took the form of a slave, of a skivvy, and we likewise need to make that as our standard for the Christian life. And part of that is putting aside the ego and all the game playing that can go along with that is often involves bringing people down and trying to promote ourselves. That is about bullying, nastiness, sniping, manipulating. We're called to something so much more profound in the Christian life. I think that's why there's that embarrassed silence from the apostles. They were arguing along the way as to who was the greatest. This is the paradox of the Christian life, is that Jesus calls us to a spiritual maturity, and he does so by presenting